Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. We are here at Imola for Season 3, Round 2 of the SRL International GT Championship for the 1.5 hours of Imola, and hopefully we saw some good racing last time. Out in Round 1 we were at Daytona, the road course. Really fun track, absolutely love the track, and it was great to sort of be there watching it and to commentate on it. It was won in the end by Max Mulder, who of course is, because of that win, is currently leading the championship at the moment. And yeah, so let's get straight into this first. Before we join the lobby, we're going to do a quick lap of the track. Now Imola, of course, is a track which is steeped in history, some good, some bad. I'm going to disobey the pit rules here. So you get a lap quickly. I'm in the Porsche for this lap, and I'll use this as a chance to sort of commentate on the lap here. So into the Tamburello, which of course has changed, unfortunately, due to the unfortunate circumstances at this corner in 1994. So it's now a chicane rather than one long swooping left. Coming out of that chicane section there, we then go into yet again another chicane, heavy braking into this one. You might want to trail brake, hit the curb here, but set the car up nicely for the exit of this corner. Coming out of here, we then go to Toza. It's one of the few, names of the corners I actually remember. Nice little hairpin. Good season moves here. I think an outside line could work as long as space is given. Coming out of Toza, then you have this uphill run all the way to the top. I don't know really what this corner's called, but all I know is that there's been plenty of cool overtakes there in the past, and I'm sure we'll be able to see some today. As we head on down to one of the most famous corners slash section of the track, this is Aqua Minerale. A lot of trail braking. Because see some spins through here, it's quite easy to do. I might end up doing it on my lap actually, and not of course intentionally, but. And then you head up to, I believe this is Variante Alta, which literally means high chicane. Don't, check up my Italian there. I think that's what it means. I think that's what it roughly translates to. And then you head down to the final two left-handers, 2 90-degree corners. However, this long braking zone here should provide some overtaking. And even into this corner as well, if you send it up the inside, it may be able to stick. So, that was a sort of talk-through lap of the track, and now I will do a flyer. Do not expect this to be, very good. I've done literally no practice before this, so yeah, hope you enjoy. Right, so that was a lap off the track, a 146.6. Don't really expect that to hold up against these guys. But we're about to join the lobby now. Hopefully we will have a fairly decent number of drivers that will be able to race. have a fairly decent number. Oh. Right then, so as we get into the lobby, as you see, actually quickly, how do I spectate? I think someone has to choose me as being the race director, I believe. In fact, hang on a second. Just gonna quickly sort out something with the audio, because otherwise my voice will be coming through game chat, so I'll quickly. Okay, I've joined a party now, so hopefully my voice will not be coming through game chat. If anyone is currently watching, that is in, in what's it called, in there, could you please give me like an invite to be a race director, because I can't really race. Well, I'd love to, but my job in this league is to be a commentator, and I'm going to respect that. As you see there, we've got 10-minute qualifying. Same as last time, but our race is an hour and a half long. Got rolling start, no mandatory pit stops, but of course there will have to be pit stops because of tyres. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we have last time out race winner Max Mulder here, and after a dominant performance, it was 2 hours. Sorry, the race was over 2 hours long. It was 2.4 hours, which I think equates to 2 hours 24 minutes. I think it is, maybe something like that. As Nick joins as well. And I'll quickly just send a message to. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So I'm now race director. So it means that I get to spectate. And yeah, let's quickly have a look at the championship. And even last time out, finishing order. And I've got Dion as well, so the numbers are starting to get up. We've got 8 drivers now. And just from driving the track, I think this is a bit of a different test. I think this is a bit more about being consistently quick compared to this. Sorry, there's a bit more precision, I think, in this track compared to Daytona. Because the Daytona, at least you have a bit of relaxing time on the oval. Around here, the only time you can really sort of relax is down the straights, because the corners are quite intense. You've got to make sure you hit your marks. Because sometimes the curbs can spit you off. Sometimes, of course, you go into a corner too quickly. Braking is going to be a bit of an issue, so they might tamper around with the ABS possibly, or even start playing around with the traction control, just so that they can fine-tune it to the point where they'll be happy. And I could just get the stream up on my laptop so I can see the chat. Right, so we've got Whippo Film saying, "Oh, Imola's a great track." Sandra saying, "Hope this will be better than Daytona." Yeah, and GT Rob saying, "What's up, guys? It's Rob. No invite to race. I would have let Jeremy know the season started. Sessions. Yeah, sorry, season started. Okay. So, hopefully everyone in chat doing perfectly fine. Hope you're going to enjoy this as much as I will." And as I said, I'll get the standings up quickly for. Where is it? There it is. Here we go. So there's been a couple of people added and not added to the league. So we've got Sandro, Dion, and Ren all in the Acura, or Akira, whichever your preference. In the Mercedes is still Jensen, Louis and Dennis. Moving on to Ferrari, we have Sam and Logan. And then Audi with Nick and Max. In the Lamborghini is Freddie. In the Porsche is Jeremy Pope. And reserve is Reese March. But I will get the standings and that up now quickly. It's been a while since we had this race, wasn't it? About 3-4 weeks maybe? Where is it? So I apologise, just trying to find the results. Where is this? Well, okay, so we've got the results / championship standings from last month. So with Max taking the win and fastest lap, he's in the lead with 11 points in the championship, followed by Jensen Randall with 8 points in second place. In third place is Logan with 6 points. In fourth is Ren with 5 points. In fifth is Sam with 4 points. Then it's Nick, Sanjo, Dion, Louis, Dennis, and that's it. And then in the constructors though, the Audis are currently out in the lead with 14 points in the championship, followed by the Ferrari duo with 10 points in second place. So it's Mercedes AMG with 8 points. Then it's Meyershank Racing, which are the Acuras, with 8 points as well, so they're all level. And then the last two teams, which are Sauber GT and GRT Grasser Racing Team, which are the other Mercedes and the Lamborghini, they are currently on 0 points, so they'll be looking to change that today. If their drivers are here, I didn't catch if any of them are actually here, but yeah, should be good. As you can see in chat, 10 minutes qualifying, about to begin. It'll be interesting to see what the weather is. I think the weather's been put on. Oh, it's on clear for qualifying. I don't know if it's the same for the races or not, but we will be getting to see these guys out on track very, very soon. As we hear someone chucking it into gear. As we've got 6 drivers. One of those drivers, being Logan, is now out on track. Of course, there's only 10 minutes as well. They're going to be wanting to get a good banker lap in first, and then try and work off of that. See if anyone else decides to follow. Not really any movement in the pits at the moment, so we're watching Logan as he's the only car out on track at the moment. However, that is Sam joining now. We said there were 8 drivers in the lobby, so I don't know if one of them needs to rejoin or something. May have lagged out, but here we go. Dion coming out the pits. Sandra coming out the pits as well. There's Sam coming out the pits. And I believe that's Jensen, maybe not in the pits anymore. There he is, he's coming out now. But we'll be watching Logan here in the Ferrari. That Ferrari's a bit of a weird one actually. I've been testing out some of the GT3s for a league that I might be starting myself. And the Ferrari's a bit of a weird one because it feels very nice through the corners. It's got quite I'd say a stable rear. Even though it's mid-engined, it's still got quite a stable rear end, and it's nice and turning in. So it's got a very stable front end. So when you turn in, it feels quite nice. Feels like you can sort of push the car quite hard. But it's just I don't know if it's just the way the car's tuned, but the engine at low revs just hasn't got enough torque. Haven't got enough like get up and go. It's one of the major drawbacks. If that had, a better engine in it, it could be an absolute, world beater. But unfortunately, because it doesn't, it sometimes can, fall sort of away compared to some of the other cars. Anyone that's currently watching, what would you say is your favourite GT3 in the game? Because I think if I were to sort of be forced to say one, but the Bentley's a really good contender. I really like that. The Merc's quite stable as well. It's got great straight-line speed as well. But I love the sound of like an Audi or a Lamborghini. But it's just a shame that the Lamborghini handles awfully. So I'd probably be pushed to say something like an Audi or the McLaren, which is a very nice, very stable car as well. But I'm going to watch Logan here though, in the Ferrari, starting his first lap around Imola, braking to Tamburello. using each curb nicely. But try not to abuse it too much though, because sometimes it can send the car the other way. Heading yourself for the chicane quite nicely here. Now everyone is out of the pits, and they should be beginning their laps in no time. River in there, look at stepping out a little bit there. You can just hear how low that thing's revving. You know, it's got a. I'm sure if it was able to rev a bit higher, then it would be great. I guess it's probably better for reliability. But yeah, as we see him come through Aqua Minerale, doing a nice job there. Looks nice and planted. And then into Variant de Alta. Those curves are a bit sketchy. It can send you flying if you hit them the wrong way. And then on the long run down under the bridge into the braking zone. So I think my lap was a 146.6. So I imagine these guys are going much quicker than that. As we watch the Ferrari badges in the background. And we're going to watch him come across the line here. What's he going to set? It's a 145.6. And he's going to go straight into the pits. Damn, no invite. Can I not send an invite, or? I can't send invites. So as long as we can send Fly High an invite, that'd be great if you're watching the stream. Sorry, I've missed that. Watching Sam though, which is, of course, Logan's teammate here. There may be someone in front of him. On our lap notes behind him, that's Jensen. Saying that though, Sandro going second place, just under a second off. And what can Sam do, which of course is his teammate. Sam makes it a Ferrari 1-2, but Jensen's just behind. Jensen though, a second off, still very close. Next, watching the two Audi guys, we're going to watch Nick here on his lap. Let's see what he can do. Let's go through Aqua Minerale. Whoa. That's screaming V10 in the back of that Audi there. It's interesting, when you look at all the cars that are racing today, I'm pretty sure the only car that hasn't got a mid to rear engine layout is the Mercedes. That's actually racing today, and of course I think that's only Jensen driving that car. So interested to see if that has any sort of dynamic in the end. Of course, at the moment Jensen being the slowest driver in the session, and Maximum having a lap time invalidated due to track limits. But now we're watching Nick here. Nick goes top at 145.5. Hey, my lap put me fourth. Nice. We're going to watch Max here. I think it said his lap was invalidated, so don't know how important this will be. I don't know if we can actually see at all what his lap would be. I hope that may have been a last lap thing, so I don't know. And he comes across the line, it was invalidated then. We're going to switch to Dion. See what he can do. Oh, Sam goes top. A 144.9. Puts him top of the session. And a very nice lap there. And so far it's a Ferrari 1-3. We've got Jensen here. Presuming he's on a valid lap. What can he do here? He still stays fifth from the looks of it. Again, if there's anyone currently watching the stream who's in the lobby, could you please send an invite to the Porsche drivers so that they could join? I'll put it into the chat as well. Max coming through Aqua Minerale there. See where everyone else is on their lap. Nick, second place at the moment. Will this be an in-lap, or will he come around to try and improve this one? Let's see what he could do. It says Fly High down there retired, so... Oh, Jetson having a lap time validated due to track limits. Now we're going to watch Max here. This lap's valid. And he only goes ahead of Dion, 9.6 seconds off. So I don't know if he's had an off on his lap. Mechanical fault for Sam. That's interesting. Neat getting lap invalidated there. Ooh, who was that there? That was one of the Acuras getting a little bit rear end happy, getting a bit tail happy there. And Sandro invalidating his lap as well. So we look around the track, see who's... Oh, Sam coming back out again. I don't know what the mechanical fault was. Oh, Sandro, lap time invalidated, track limits, that's a lot. Now watching Sandro now. Coming across the line to not improve, but behind him that looked like an Audi of Neek, and it is. And it's qualifying over then. So whoever crosses the line now will not get a chance to improve. Let me quickly just look across, not splits, where we want the map. There you go. So, oh, Jensen I think lapped out. Oh, Fly High left the session. If we get, okay, it's joined. Who do we want here? We want to look at this guy, which is Sam. However, he is on an outlap, I think, so I don't know if that's actually going to be a full lap. So we're going to watch Neek then. Wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong part. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Logan goes top. Logan makes it a Ferrari 1-2, but can Jensen do anything about it? He's P5 at the moment. He's 2 seconds off. It's going to be a hell of a lap for him to go higher, and he doesn't. He goes 8 tenths quicker, to be fair to him. But he's only gone 4th place. But what a lap there from Logan. Great lap, puts him in a great position as well. Pole position, that is. And of course, Ferrari with a 1-2. And for the Tifosi's home track, for an Italian car to be on the front row, I'm sure any Ferrari fans will love to see that. And that's going to set them up really nicely for the race, as long as they don't make contact in the early stages of the race. Then everything should be fine and dandy. But Sam coming to a stop there. Might crawl across the line or something, I don't know what he's trying to do. Watching Neek though, coming down towards the line. Can he go quicker? Can he split up the Ferrari 1-2? He doesn't. And behind in the Acura was Sandro there, but I don't think Sandro went any quicker, so there you go, qualified confirmed. Wow, look at that first sector, already a 10th between the two. And then we see Logan quicker in the second sector, and then quicker in the third as well. So all the time that Logan is gaining, of course, is in the... sorry, losing is in the first sector. So, here we are for the race then. They're all lined up and ready to go. I'm going to put the track map up. Do we leave the speedo? Yeah, we put the speedo on just to see. Actually, no, alright. It's just a shame with this game as well. Some of the ways to watch as a spectator aren't exactly the best. It's not something like F1. or even ACC with some of the new updates that have come to PC, and hopefully they'll be coming to PlayStation soon as well. Can't wait to drive that BMW M4 GT3. Looks absolutely amazing. But we make do with this game, and yeah, hopefully we will be in store for a good race. So it's a shame. Fly High saying the game put me in the Ferrari, but I'm in the Porsche and I can't rejoin the lobby. I'll catch the next race. Sorry about that, mate. It's annoying with it. I think the way that it works as well is that it does a really stupid there's like a really stupid system where you can't rejoin the lobby if there's like 3 minutes or something left in the session, or 2 minutes. It's either or, but yes, it's annoying the way that it works. Unfortunately, with this game, it'd be different if it was a Gran Turismo or a Formula One, sorry, F1. But unfortunately, it's just unfortunately the way that the game is. Hopefully, for Project Cars 4, because 3's a bit of a lost cause. Hopefully with Project Cars 4 we can actually get something good, or even just a decent sim title that isn't mega expensive, because unfortunately with ACC as well, you have to, I think it's a pay for servers. Oh, here we go, we're starting to go now. And they'll be getting the countdown there. As you see on the ticker at the top, we've got 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 lights, and it's with green for the GT3 round 2 here in Imola, down towards turn 1. The Ferrari still side by side. Can they give each other enough room, or will there be a collision round the outside? Goes Sam, and Sam goes into the lead. We look further back. In Newcastle track, no, there's a spinner though. It's Sandro. Oh, Sandro's raced already in the gutter. He's got to make up a lot of time here. Side by side, look at this between Nick and Jensen. Jensen, can he give the space into the corner? Jensen protects the inside line, but it's deep into the brakes. Deep on the brakes goes Nick. Up the inside, he's going to try and go now, and he's gone up the inside, and he's got the position. And I was actually informed last week, I believe it was by Samuel Brandt, that when you see those triangles there, or those like warning signs, it's when a car is within a second of the other. So it's a good idea to sort of have an idea of like when someone's battling, or when there could be a battle brewing. So thank you very much to Sam for that one. And it gives you good ideas to be going, have they got a penalty, or have they not, getting misconstrued with it. But Sam, though, in the lead, quite convincingly at the moment. Sorry for the not focused camera, just that. Let's watch the cars plummet down the hill here, and Max going to try and go past Jensen at some point. Looked like deep in the brakes there by Jensen. He was deep on the brakes. He's got enough track. That's how deep he went. And they're going to be side by side as they go down the straight. Maybe not. Max falling behind to try and use some slipstream. Might try and get alongside him for turn 1 to try and think about a move. It's one of the best opportunities on the whole track to really go for anything at the moment. And he's not going to. He's going to play it safe. But I said about the front engine car, and he spun out. Jensen spins in the Mercedes. And I can maybe sort of understand, Jensen being a little bit, loyal to the Mercedes, considering, he drives it in F1 as well. But I don't know if that's the best choice for this track. Of course, they can't really choose, they choose at the beginning of the season. But unfortunately, it's just that with that car being front-engined, I think it just doesn't help it compared to, the Ferraris. I think this track might suit, the likes of the Ferrari, the likes of the Audi, even the McLaren. I know there aren't any on track at the moment, but even the McLarens, I'm sure, would have a lovely time around this track. That's why I went around it in a Porsche earlier, just because the Porsche is a very good car, not only by itself, but of course, the fact that it's rear engines as well, I think suits this track. But the Ferraris, though, commanding lead at the moment. But Nick, though, looking to try and break that up. I wonder if Logan acting as a bit of a buffer here, letting his teammate pull ahead, and Logan being the one to battle the likes of Nick. Hopefully there won't be contact though, because the game's a bit strange in terms of braking as well, because it's very easy to lock up even with ABS. Still, like, you know, you can have degrees of ABS on, and with, you know, when you're running a default, it's quite easy to lock up sometimes and go into the back of someone. And even the fact that the racing line, when you do have it deployed, it can often be quite inconsistent, as in, you know, the braking zone is almost like a generalised braking zone. So, you know, you can brake there with a road car, but if you brake in the same place with a GT3 car, it's, you know, you're of course going to be having a lot more time there to stop. So it's, so it's often not the best to use the braking line, but it's a good reference though. It's a really good reference, so that you can always have an idea of when you should be. But of course, you've got plenty of visual cues around the track as well. Of course, you've got not only the meter boards, but even curbs sometimes help. That can sometimes be a good way to sort of, you know, gauge when you can brake as well. But right now, though, the Ferrari's up in front, and they're doing quite a good job of it, just containing it. And of course, at some point we will no doubt be seeing pit stops, considering we've got, you know, an hour 25 still left. Go on board here. And we're seeing the Ferraris driving almost in formation here. And it's just the Audi of Nick. Oh, he went in deep there. Yeah, I was going to say, it looked a bit rough on entry. I don't think he's really lost too much time. Definitely hasn't gained any, but he's not lost too much, I don't think. That could have been a lot worse. The rear end could have spun round on him if he'd gone any deeper. So you're positioning the car nicely there just to get a nice exit. You see, it helps him massively down the straights. Is going deep there. Looked like maybe Logan. I think the way, you know, it's the way you have to drive these cars are so different, I think, as well. Because with the Ferrari, as I said, it's got such a great front end, but the rear is a little bit iffy. So it's just a case of carrying enough speed through the corner, but keeping it to the point where it's stable, and not to the point where, you know, you are going to spin if you release that brake. And the same almost with the Audi as well. It's that same sort of feeling. It's got less front end from personal experience. Oh, see Sam going off track. Sam goes off track. Will he lose a position? He will lose a position. He's going to lose 2 positions. And Sam going to try and get back up to speed. And not what he would have wanted. It looked like they were holding the race quite nicely, those two up front, but unfortunately about 7 minutes in to his lead, after what was, you know, quite an impressive move at turn 1 / turn 2, unfortunately he's dropped to the bottom of the podium runners. But he won't exactly have Max to worry about. There's a big gap there. It's about 7-8 seconds there. And it's only getting bigger as well. It's going to get to the point where these guys are almost going to have a pit stop on these top 3. A pit stop over, sorry, the top 3. And let's go on board again with Nick. And we'll have a look from his point of view, or this is driver's point of view, how close he is to Logan. And of course last time that's race winner Max Mulder struggling around here. But his teammate certainly isn't. His teammate's the one who's fighting and battling to try and take over the lead and bring home another win for the Audi team. Oh, spun! Sorry, I looked away from the screen. And Logan spins. Oof. He's lucky there. He's lucky he hasn't gotten away with much. He's lucky that he hasn't actually gotten like worse there. Sam's going to retake the lead, but Logan's spinning in front of Nick. Nick piling into the side of him, and luckily that didn't get any worse. I'm assuming there's no damage, you know, especially because of the fact that the cars look squeaky clean. But oh, that could have been so much worse because the physics in this game as well. If you go to the side of someone like that, you know, they can go flipping and flying and bouncing. It's almost like iRacing physics with the way that they crash sometimes. And I guess luckily for Logan there, it hasn't led to that. But Sam though retaking the lead from a mistake by his teammate and the Audi driver of Nick. And it's going to be Logan coming into the pits. I don't know if that's for damage or not. We'll see how long he's in the pits for, but unless he's thinking just get a pit stop in now. But I wonder what they do. So they're going to put... Is that tyres on there? No. Can't exactly see. Don't know if that's damage. I think there might have been tyres or something. Not too sure from there. It's quite hard to see, and even the animations, I don't know a lot of them. Of course, you can tell, you know, you can tell when someone's doing tyres and all that, but as Sandra into the pits now as well. And they're not in there for very long, are they? So I'm assuming there's no damage. I think as well we'd be able to see it on the car if there were damage on. I don't think if there was damage on, I think it would have been a very interesting drive back to the pits for the drivers involved in that incident. As we watch Samuel Brandt in the lead. I apologise for the early coughing. And Sam's starting to pull away a bit here. Sorry for the lack of commentary. It's just not much, not much going on. As we watch the race leader here. And if anyone knows in chat, what does the red marker mean on the side there? Well, we almost had Jensen closing it on Max there, but. And it's a good recovery from Jensen. He's had a difficult start to the race. Of course, Sandro spinning out, and then unfortunately Jensen spinning out as well. Don't know if that was the curb that just spun the car around, or he got a bit too much power on. But Jensen though, good recovery. But of course, two drivers did also pit, which of course were Logan and Sandro. So immediately going to be kind of handicapped here, but. That's a black marker, is it? No, it's red. On the name. As we're seeing Jensen here, we'll go on board with Jensen. See from his point of view, hear that roaring, thunderous V8 from the Mercedes. Oh, is Max going deep there? And really, Jensen doesn't have to do much as long as he sticks behind Max here. And Max keeps making mistakes like those. Then we could see Jensen up into a podium position. Or gets the power on a little bit early there, and to get out of it just a touch. The gap very small though, it's about 3-4 tenths, it's fluctuating quite a bit. But once it comes to the straight though, surely the straight line speed of that Mercedes will dominate that V10. Through Van de Alta. Ooh, chucking it through the gears here. He's going to use a slipstream to try and get as close as he can into the double left-hander. Brakes around the Project Cars 2 board as Max goes wide. We said that if he kept making mistakes like that, then Max would get, Jensen would get past easily. And what happens? Max goes deep. He does a Valtteri Bottas. He goes off track, and Jensen will inherit P3 now. And surely at the moment, his only focus is really just to close the gap as much as he can to the leaders without spinning. But he also might play it safe. He might go, you know, I've already spun once before. I don't want to do it again. So he may go a little bit easier this time round. And just manage his way to the pits. Or at least when he next... Okay, hey, can you turn on the speed? Yeah, sure. There you go. Right, there you go. No problem, bro. And what's unique here? Of course, as I said, his teammate scored a win, you could say. Last time we raced in this championship in Daytona, it was a really good drive, really well managed as well, and it was almost like once he got into a rhythm, you just couldn't get him out of it. He was really sort of dominant, but of course he was helped by some incidents and some great battling behind him. But at the moment the field very spread out, and these 7 drivers doing well. Clearly they've got, they've definitely got their own plan of action. And they seem to be managing it quite well. We're going to look up towards the leader here as we start lap 10. We've got an hour and 13 left of this hour and a half race. In fact, while we're waiting, we'll have a quick look at the timings then, shall we? So, fastest lap of the race overall is Jensen, actually. I was saying about the rear-engine cars being, the better ones. Jensen with a 146.460. That was my lap, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure that was the exact same lap as the one that I set in the Porsche. Oh no, I think mine was a 640 maybe. Anyway, still great lap though from Jensen, and he's seemingly in the 46s quite consistently. The only other driver to be in the 46s was Nick with the 146.9, and of course you see there as well. Oh, the red markers are for penalties, so that's why. But Dion with 2 seconds, and then Sandro with 11 seconds. So not sure what those exactly relating to, because surely if they got a warning saying about like a cutting the corner or like extending track limits, you think they'd slow down. At least I think that's how it works. That's the last time I checked. But good lap there from Sam, 4 tenths quicker, said that time round. In fact, yeah, that was his best lap of the race so far, a 146.8, which Puts him second overall in the whole race. And Alexi, how you doing? He's saying, "Come on, Jensen." He's closed the gap in, actually. He has closed the gap in. Last time I sort of paid attention to the gaps, he was 10 seconds back, and he's closed in about 2 to 3 seconds. And I would say Jensen has been setting consistent 46s from the looks of it. Even leaving there, look at that, 46.3 that time round. He's definitely got the pace, no doubt about it. And he's certainly closing in quickly to not only getting that second place, but getting a great win. Oh, Nick with a penalty. Nick with a 1 second time penalty. That could be huge towards the end of the race. But a big offload from Jensen. It's always that corner people seem to be going off on. The trouble is, I think it's just because when you hit the brakes, it's such an iffy corner. You know, because you want to, ideally you want to hit the brakes when you're going in a straight line, but the corner sometimes forces you to do so. There's drops of rain. There's drops of rain. And at the hour and 9 minute mark, I think you can see some droplets of rain. I think I can hear it actually through my audio. I can hear the sprinkles of rain. And in fact there you can see it on the camera lens. Droplets of rain. What will the cars do now? What will the drivers do? GT Rob saying, is full damage on? I don't think full damage is on, because there was a big crash earlier between Nick and Logan. Oh, speaking of, Jensen spins. Jensen spins at Tozer, and now Max is going to try and go around the outside of him. Oh, there's contact between the two. I say Max has picked. And GC Rob saying Max has picked now. These two definitely very close within a second of each other. Maybe reinstating the battle that they had earlier. It was kind of a one and done between these two, with Max making the mistake. And I wonder if this, droplets of rain as well. We might see cars going off, and saying again, Jensen going off track. And Max going to be trying to capitalise off of that. Down the straight they go. He's coming at the back of him. Ooh, it's still very close. It sounded like a mistake though from Max. He sounded really hesitant on the throttle there, as if he went wide. I think he did, but no one in the pits at the moment. The rain's falling, but their lap times, I think, are as well, probably. Yeah, look. 151's last lap was a 46 there for Sam. A 46? Everyone else is. What is he doing? Oh, no, don't want to quit the session. What is he doing to get 46s? Wow, okay. And the drivers get close to him there. It's the Ferrari, so maybe this is the Ferrari just showing, they're at their best sometimes around this track when others aren't. Of course, it does mean with Jensen having as many offs as he's already had, it does mean that that gap that was down to 7 seconds earlier is now down to 11, unfortunately. But quite a few drivers with penalties here, from the looks of it. Yet 1 second time penalty for Max, and then 2 second time penalty for Nick as well. And GT Rob saying that's always Jensen. He pushes his tyres too hard, too early, and he doesn't have. He doesn't race for the long run. Which, yeah, I think you could see here he's just pushing so hard, which is great when it works. If you're doing some sort of sprint GT thing, but when you're driving, for an hour and a half, you don't exactly want to be doing it. We saw it earlier with the spin. It's clearly working in terms of his lap times. When we saw the lap times he was putting in, he was, head and shoulders above the rest almost. He put 46 there, but yeah, again, another example. He goes off track there. That might hurt his exit. See what Max can do. Max closing in within a second now. He's still following closely behind here. This is as close as he can get. A little fluttering of the throttle through that section there. Even though Jensen's been, had a couple offs, he still managed it fairly well. At least the offs haven't been too big. Max, though, will he shape up for a move here? He's going to stick behind the rear of him. Gets onto the throttle nicely. He's just slip in behind here and slipstream his way down towards the bottom left, and just hope that another mistake is made from Jensen. And he's both made the corner. And GT Rob saying tyres are overheating, but he doesn't slow down to cool his tyres and then try again. Wonder if he's thinking, get the position now before we get into the pits as well, because there is going to be, a chance as well. It depends how hard this rain really gets. Oh, he's going a bit deep again on the brakes. I must say as well, compared to F1, I find it a lot harder on this game to be consistent. With your braking and turning, just because I think it drives so much differently compared to other games. I think if you play F1 a lot and you come onto this, it's a bit of a culture shock almost. I remember when Nick spun. I think Nick spun. Is that Nick there? Going slowly. I think it is. It is Nick. Nick's had an issue at Tosa, and it drops him back into this battle. So now the battle for third place has turned into a battle for second place now. And GT Rob saying Max keeping the pressure on. Yeah, he is. Earlier it was Jensen who was trying to pile pressure onto Max to get the position, and now the roles are reversed, but also sort of not, because Jensen in this Audi sandwich, he might be able to get ahead of the other Audi and pick up a good result for Mercedes. His teammate was cheering him on earlier, saying, "Come on, Jensen." In through the double left. But F1 isn't that of a sim, of a full sim like Project Cars. Yeah, exactly. Again, it's just a bit. Sometimes it can be a bit weird because it's quite easy to be precise on the F1 game, I think. But again, compared to this, I think the handling model definitely lends itself differently. As Jensen goes round the outside. Speaking of F1, the F1 Championship leader leads this battle here, but he's also gone on into the grass. That's going to sacrifice his exit. And the Audi driver of Nick all over the rear end of the Mercedes. Not going to shape up for a move, but it's all very close. All it takes is one mistake from Nick on the brakes, and he could go to the back of not only his teammate, but also Jensen, as Jensen tries to deny the position there. They're still side by side. The Audi's going towards the inside. Hopefully it won't be contact. No, he's tucked in behind the Mercedes. It's side by side. Nico Max was taking turns to attack towards Jensen. Jensen, he's held the outside line nicely there. There's going to be Nico around the position, but will he keep the position? Jensen's off. Jensen's into the wall. I don't know if there was any. I mean, it looked like there might have been contact there. The physics in this game for contacts was a little bit. You know, it leaves a lot to be desired. But Jensen gets spat off into the wall there. And what could have been a great battle, unfortunately, he's led to one driver getting worse off. Hello, Aston. Oh, don't quit the session. Good. Championship leader. Unfortunately, again, getting into that incident with the two Audis. But the two Audis, I think, will continue to battle. They're leading the Constructors' Championship at the moment. They would carry on leading as they're side by side. Max going up the inside of his teammate Nick. He's going to almost run wide as well. I don't know if these guys are doing it for fun, but you know, if you're smart about it, you probably want to. Ooh, you probably want to just sit behind, maybe. You know, let the championship leader go ahead, which of course, you know, Max is ahead now. But you'd like to think if they're playing the team game, you probably think that Nick would just sit back and only make an overtake if Max really went off, so that they don't drop a lot of time to Jensen. It just looks like one dodgy corner away from being a bucket. Lads. And GT Rob saying so full damage isn't on, maybe slightly damage. I don't think any damage is on. I won't lie. It may be even visual. I don't think it's on, because again that was a fairly hefty hit in the wall, which could have given you what, 20 something damage maybe. And even the crash we saw earlier again between Nick and Logan, that easily would have knocked, you know, a lot of damage out the front of Nick and possibly given him steering damage. And even, you know, because it was a front of the car to the side of the car impact between the two, being that Nick drove into the side of Logan, and of course both of them got away with no damage. And again, the physics on this game, when you have a big hit like that, sometimes it can, you know, send the car flipping as well. So being in an accident like that, I think is enough of a penalty. And I think just getting an extra bit of damage as well as go on top of it, you know, is realistic as it would be. It would also be a huge setback. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's any damage. If full damage was on, Jensen would have lost the tyre radiator or radiator damage. Yeah, definitely. The impact that he had was, you know, it was a bit of a whiplash sort of incident as he goes up the inside here, does he, of his teammate? I guess these two might just be enjoying the time that they're having at the moment, but at some point though, his teammate, one of those two in a party together, might be working together. And of course at some point they are going to have to pit. It's more a matter of when rather than if, because I think these are still the dry tyres that they started on. And Aston saying, is there rain or am I imagining it? No, there's definitely rain. They just haven't come in yet. I think the tyres are quite durable. But, you know, of course, I said earlier though, lap times have been dropping off. They were in the 46s and the 47s for quite a lot of it. But of course, you see now 47 last lap. And the lap times, to be fair, the lap times haven't actually tailed off much. It's just, it's still quite a decent amount. Oh, the internet connection is low. Okay, that's not good. Hopefully that doesn't lag the stream out. Apologise if the stream's, you know, a bit iffy. It's fine on my end from what I'm seeing, but it was a little bit buffery at some points. But we're watching these two though. Max hugging the inside line here. Both of them have got a penalty as well. See how that plays into things. But Max should keep the lead here. Nick should be able to stay back and just brake early and just bring it in home into the pits. Ooh, but saying that though, Max going a bit deep there. GT Rob saying can't be because they would have been spinning out to game playing Unreal Physics. Don't honestly know. Let's go all the way on board quickly. There's definitely rain. Definitely showing rain. I'm assuming they're not running cockpit cam then. If someone's running, yeah, if you're running cockpit cam, you're gonna have your wipers on. Oh, we give this team a bump there. Yeah, they're putting the wipers on, so there's definitely rain. Oh, saying that, go a little bit deep there. Where's Logan? Oh, car going wide there, it's Neek. But yeah, they've got wipers on for certain cars, which I'm assuming are the ones that are using like some sort of cockpit or onboard cam. But then of course you go on board with someone like Neek and he has got those wipers on. And they've done 20 laps so far, we've got 55 minutes left. And still a lot can happen. So, I'm going to quickly go get a drink and I will be back to commentate on the rest of it. And I'll leave you to be on board with Nick so we can watch whatever he's doing and whatever his teammate's doing. So I will be not very long. Right, we'll be on and off for the next few minutes. However though, the rain clearly hasn't been on and off because it's getting a bit darker now. And we are going to quickly go back onto the trackside cameras. All has a nice little mixture of all of them, but we like trackside, Get a good view of it all. Watching Neek here, sitting behind his teammate. There's still a considerable gap between Sam, the race leader, trying to bring it home for Ferrari. I'd definitely say that these rear-ended cars seem to suit the track a lot better. I know Jensen's got the pace, but he seems to, he's got raw pace in almost everything that he seems to do. But this whole race is not just about pace. It's also about, managing it, managing the tyres, managing yourself as well, not pushing too hard. It's quite easy to go over the limit in a championship like this, or in a game like this as well. You see they're still running sort of 47s, on a quick lap. Haven't seen any 46s in a while. 115 and 149 there. For Max and Nick. Gap's gone down about a second though, I will say. It was 11 to, okay, I say that. As soon as I say the gap's gone down a bit from like, 11, 12 seconds to Sam, it's gone sort of back up. It's fluctuating quite a bit. But Nick though consistently staying just behind his teammate. Just enough, to know that he's there. As we got the first driver into the pits, it's Logan. It's actually Logan's second stop. But you'd like to think this is for tyres and fuel here. The rain might be getting a bit much now. As that is Sam and Sandro get past him. That's Sandro there. But then that's Sam, the race leader, just behind him. And I wonder if anyone else will decide to come in as well. Oh, it's Jensen off. Jensen's off. I was about to say there's a car going very slowly through that middle sector there. I was going to see if they were coming into the pits or not, but he is now. Jensen will come into the pits, but I'm afraid that might be damage limitation. He's gone off yet again. And unfortunately, it's led to his race just going down in the dumps here. Will Dion pit as well, or will Dion stay out? Dion does stay out. And his teammate gonna have to worry about the race leader behind him. But now Max has gone off. Oh, this is like Imola in F1. Cars going off everywhere in the rain. Conditions definitely don't look, I guess, as bad. But oh, they're still side by side. That's dangerous, boys. That's dangerous. Oof. Maybe I'll take back what I said earlier about those two being a party. That was dangerously close there. You'd like to think there'd be some sort of communication, especially when it's as contentious as a race. Sorry, contentious as this. You don't want to give up. You've got a double podium here that you could easily, just quite safely drive home. But they're definitely risking it at the moment, testing their luck. Some might say. And Jensen, that was a long time in the pits there. Maybe there is damage on or something, or some sort of damage, because he was in there for quite a long time, and I don't think he just, would want to sit there. You want to get back out on track. That was quite a long stop that he was in the pits for, so interesting to see what that's about. And there's the race leader, Sam, going into the pits. What will Nick do? Nick goes in as well. Max will stay out, but more importantly, though, that's your race leader into the pits. And this was a crossover approaching that halfway mark in the race. We're 24 laps in, and they're already pitting. And yeah, exactly that. Me and Rob making almost the exact same point there. He's just saying, why is Nick racing his teammate? It's letting Jensen catch them. Exactly. Jensen's, out of the fight, it's fair to say. I know he's just pitted, but once these guys pit, Dion's staying out again. Sam. Oh, Mac, wait, is that... Wait, what? Wait, where's Nick? Oh, is Nick lagged out or left the session? Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that's a bummer. I was going to say, because he pitted when Jensen... So he pitted when Sam pit. And I was like, okay, well, where's the other Audi? And he's not there. So Dion's now currently in P3. He still needs to pit, though. So he's going to have to use this time now. Surely he's going to have to pit within the next few laps. Because he hasn't pit yet, I don't think. Sandro, I think, was the only one of the accurates to pit. Right. There's a car in the pit as well, but that might be Nick. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, that's a shame. It didn't say, it didn't come up with any prompts as well. I think I would have picked it up if there had have been, but there hasn't, so that's a shame. Nick's just saying here. He said, "Oh my god, I'm actually stupid." He said, "I think I would have had a chance after I would have fixed my damage." And he says he sped into the pits because he didn't know where the limiter was. Ah, oh, that's such a shame, mate. Sorry about that. Ah, you gotta feel bad. Max into the pits though now. Unfortunately, we move on. Sam's gonna retake the lead. And Dion's now coming into the pits. Will he have enough of a gap to Jensen? Depends how long his stop is. That's all that really counts. It's a long pit lane though. And of course, with it being a long pit lane, there will be more, of course, time lost when you're actually pitting. Right, I will disappear off again just quickly, just to finish up my drink because I was using the coffee machine. I just kind of forgot about it until now, so I will be back in about a minute. Right, sorry about that, I'm back. 40 minutes left. And Jensen will be wanting to close down the gap now to Max. However, the only person on track who does not have a penalty is Logan. We'll go on to the timings quickly, have a look at what the penalties are. It's a lot of penalties, wow. Sam with 10 seconds, Max Mulder with 11 seconds, 12 seconds for Jensen, only 4 seconds for Dion. So if Dion actually closes a gap in here, within 8 seconds, he'll get himself on the podium, which would be great for Acura. And then, of course, Sandro, the other Acura, with 13 seconds. Sorry, I'll just quickly check the chat here. Nick asking about commentary. Unfortunately, Nick, I don't know how I can't invite people here for some reason. Like, it's not as quick. It's not as simple as me just like clicking the R2 or throttle button and for some like it just flashing up saying like, you know, invite certain people. Unfortunately, I've literally only got I've only got 2 options. I can either play around with the telemetry and stuff here, or I can leave. That's pretty much it. So unfortunately, I can't. But watching Sam though, good lead at the moment, 30 seconds. Wait, so you sit in the lobby? Saying my CSL Elite wheel broke. I'm waiting on my DD Pro. Ooh. Must admit, Rob, I've been looking at those. They look stunning. Although I've been saving for the what's it called? I've been saving for a new rig, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to. Well, by the time that it comes out next, was it next March? Hopefully, I'll have enough by then to buy it. However, I kind of would wish to buy it separately. I won't lie. Like what's it called? I'd quite like to get the base itself, like for PlayStation, and then ideally I'd kind of like to maybe what's it called, get like the F1 rim or something with it, or even the McLaren rim with it, rather than because the GTS wheel looks alright, but I'm not a big fan of it. It just looks a bit like it's got a good addition in terms of the buttons and stuff. I think that's a great choice of what they've done. Although saying that though, it's a bit of an ugly duckling. It's not my favourite looking wheel. That's why I say I think I'd rather have the base with something like the McLaren wheel or the F1 V2. I think it is something like that. But overall, though, I think they've done a great job, like with how they've done it. But V3 pedals of the CSLE, all nice. Yeah, I've been wanting a Fanatec for a while. I've been using the G29 since like 2019, like Christmas 2019. Yeah, I've been using a G39 since then, and I've got the F1 wheel. Nice. Is that the what's the different versions called? Because I know there's the fairly simplified one, just a normal Formula style rim, but it hasn't got a lot of the buttons on there. It hasn't got like the licensing. Actually, I will admit though, they have some very nice what's it called, like special wheels, like special edition wheels that they sort of do. I think, is it every year or something, or like twice every year or something? They come up with a sort of like newer version essentially of the well, like an updated version where they kind of change the colour of it. They kind of maybe add some little bits onto it that sort of make it look a bit nicer. As you see, ladies and gentlemen, Neek joining us.
Hi, Scott.
Hello there.
Well, yeah, what can I say? I unfortunately ended my race because I went to the pit lane too quickly, which is a really stupid mistake. But unfortunately, this game can be pretty harsh on that, so yeah, I got instantly disqualified.
Oh.
But it was looking pretty alright at that point. Unfortunately, I don't know if you caught it in the live stream, but I was running in second behind Logan in the first part of the race, and then he spun in front of me and I had nowhere to go, so I smashed into him and damaged my car.
Oh, so there is damage?
Yeah. I had aero damage. I didn't really have much suspension damage, so I decided to stay out. But that's why I suddenly lost a lot of time. I couldn't keep up with Sam, and made a mistake as well. And Max went in front, and there was also an incident with Jensen. I think there was a bit of desync, but that was unfortunate for him as well. And yeah, then I started to have bit of a fight with Max, and I saw that he stayed out. I made a very late call to come to the pits to change for wets. And I was really looking forward to that because I was, looking forward to fixing my car, and also I felt pretty comfortable in the wet. So I really thought I actually had a chance of winning, or at least to get on the podium. But yeah, I just completely messed it up and just made a stupid mistake by speeding into the pits. I hadn't actually practiced the pit entry yet, so I just misjudged where the limit was. It was very early, and yeah, I should have just been much more careful.
Yeah, because it did look like on stream a lot like you sort of maybe saw that Sam was pitting, and it was like a bit like, I'm gonna have to quickly go like now at least try and copy him. Was that the plan, or was it just was it just a sort of a plan of action that you kind of had already?
A little bit. I also was reacting to Max, and I thought he was gonna come in, but at the last second I saw he stayed out. So I just dived in, and I just thought that the pit entry line was a lot further up the road, and I just completely misjudged it. So it's, yeah, I really can't believe it. I was just so amazed that I just got disqualified. It's, yeah, just very stupid. I can't believe I just did that, because I've done a lot of league races on this game, but I've never done that before.
Surprised it didn't just give you a penalty or something like that. There's a tons of penalties for everyone out on track at the moment.
Yeah, it's actually pretty harsh with all the track limit. Sometimes when you just leave the track a little bit or have a slight track center corner cut, gives you a slowdown warning. And sometimes, despite actually lifting off, it doesn't go away and still gives you the penalty. So it's a bit weird as well how you can. Yeah, it's very easy to pick up penalties with the slowdowns.
You don't have to be like Gran Turismo, where it like shows you how much time you should actually lose.
Yeah, of course it doesn't show this, so you have to kind of guess how much you have to lift off, and sometimes it's not enough and you get a penalty.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying like that. I think I don't know if it's. I think it's on the calendar this season. This Spa is almost one of the worst ones as well, because when you're, I think as you're coming out of Radion, you sometimes can drift wide in a GT car, which of course gives you like a little bit of slowdown. But because it's such a long straight, you just keep like slowly lifting, but you end up losing almost more time than you need to, and it's just unnecessary. It's, I think, the same with this. I haven't experienced it much because like the preview lap I did earlier was the only lap I've done, at least recently, in a GT3 car, and I think I invalidated my lap at the second chicane, just from like taking I think just put like one or two wheels over or something, but that was enough for it to of course invalidate the lap. But yeah, even watching some of the guys, I think it was Jensen, only put a couple, like maybe one or two wheels off or something on the exit of the corner, and that gave him some sort of penalty, I think, as well. So yeah, it seems a bit harsh.
Yeah, it is, and sometimes it's difficult to predict how much you have to slow down. So sometimes it actually goes away without slowing down at all, and sometimes it doesn't go away despite slowing down, so it's a bit inconsistent.
Right, so we've got 30 minutes left of this then, and two could-be battles. We've got Dion, who's being closed in on by... Actually, let me get the camera up. Dion being closed in on by Logan, and then Jensen closing in a little bit on Max at the moment, but I don't know how much that's really going to affect Max, actually, because I think considering what he did last time out in Daytona, I don't know how much pressure he's really going to feel from Jensen, especially if it's a long run as well, because Jensen, he's great for sort of short runs, and he's quick, rapid. I mean, we saw it earlier, the lap times he was putting in was insane, but of course towards the end he started making so many mistakes by like going off track in braking zones. Like it just looked a bit sort of sloppy almost towards the end.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I think Jensen definitely has the potential to catch up to Max, so we may see that gap go down a little bit and decrease, but it's still 5 seconds for now. But I could see Jensen catching Max, to be honest, as he runs wide there towards Aqua Minerale. But yeah, I think that could be a battle for second place, and I feel a bit guilty because I don't know if you saw, but I kinda crushed Jensen out, even though it wasn't intentional, of course, but I was on the left, he was on the right, just before Aqua Minerale, and we sort of tagged each other, and he spun into the wall and damaged the car as well, so that set him back quite a bit, and he's now trying to catch up to, make up for it.
Yeah, I saw that incident earlier. It didn't look malicious. It just looked like that's what happens when you're racing almost like near enough 3 wide. But it was a bit weird. It looked very sort of dramatised. It looked like really small contact. But that was enough for to just send him off into the wall, like really dramatically.
Yeah, because I actually didn't move over to the right, and also Jensen didn't go to the left. I think we sort of got glued to each other, and then suddenly Jensen bounced off to the right. It was a bit weird. Yeah, I think it would be pretty good damage limitation if Jensen can finish inside the top 2, or at least he's on for a pretty safe podium.
And I'll check where we're going next time out, because I think there's another quite big break in the season, because there's less races in this championship compared to F1. So I think we've got another 3 weeks maybe until the next race. So we'll quickly have a look at what that is.
Yeah, I can't recall as well what's next on the calendar. But yeah, it's definitely a disappointing start for the season, for me, because also in Daytona I had a chance of being on the podium, and also towards the end I made a mistake, crashed out into the wall, damaged the car, and dropped back to 6th. And I think last season started in a bit of a similar way. I had difficulties to really get going in the first few races, and then I was a bit more competitive in the final few races, and I even won the final 2. But of course it was too late for the championship, so yeah, this year it's a bit of a similar trend that I'm just throwing away so many points now, and the championship is pretty much already over. And I definitely feel like there's potential for it, also because I won it in the first season, because that was the only season where I actually didn't really make mistakes, but also this season has been really poor, and mistakes like in Daytona and this one here, where I didn't really make a mistake or race, but just had that moment with Logan and then sped into the pits is just really unnecessary.
I mean, at least you can try and fight for the if Drivers' Championship. I mean, it's still early, so you still have a good chance of getting the Drivers' Championship, maybe. But at least there's the Constructors, which will be no doubt that'll be quite a decent championship to watch, because the Ferraris around here seem to be really good. Jensen on his day as well can sort of really carry that Mercedes up towards the front of the grid, so it could be an interesting sort of way towards the end of the championship. And I've just checked as well, round 3 of the season is the Nurburgring, so I don't know if that's the Nordschleife included, but I guess it's not from the looks of it, considering it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's a normal Grand Prix circuit.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, an hour and a half around that one.
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't mind if they actually used the full layout with the Nordschleife included, because I really like that track actually. And actually, Max and I did a 24-hour race on this game on the full Nurburgring, so we should have enough experience to know the track and maybe have an advantage. But unfortunately, we're not racing there.
Wait, 24 hours?
Yeah. Yeah, we did it last year in December. Of course, we did use the AI driver swap during some stints and during the night, so we didn't actually fully drive it, but we did drive a big distance of it.
So you can do driver swaps on this game then, like actual between?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You can't do it between players, you can just do it with an AI. So we were together in a lobby filled with AIs.
Oh,
and
okay.
You can switch between, like during a pit stop you can enable the driver swap, so it will take over from the next stint.
So I think I've done that before, just as a bit like out of curiosity, but yeah, it was just a really slow AI, and I was a bit like, is this it?
Yeah, it depends on what the AI difficulty is set to, because it's, I think, the same as the AI difficulty. So if you have the AI on a high level, then the driver swap AI will be on the same level, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. As Logan all over the back here of Dion, heading up towards, I think it's Variante Alta. He's on the outside line. Might try and go for some sort of cutback here. No, he can't shape anything up. Oh, but he doesn't have to, Dion spins!
He laid up the rear tyres there, and gives the position to Logan Ron.
And he hasn't put it, he's managed to keep it out of the wall, but still, that's going to put Logan up into P4, which is good after the start to the race that he's actually had. Oh, somewhere a little bit off there. But he's got back going again, hasn't lost really much time. If any, actually, he's pulled away.
Yeah, and also Max has seemed to have pulled away from Jensen as well.
Yeah, 15 seconds. I mean, compared to last time, we were talking about like 5 or 6 or something. So it could be. Again, I know Max is quick, but there might also be some mistakes there from Jensen, considering how many times he's gone off as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably gone off a couple of times.
Right, quickly. I'll quickly have a look at the championship and see what it would do to everyone, like where they finish right now. So. Right, so Max, I believe, would go on to 21 points. Actually, who's got fastest lap? I think it's Jensen. Yeah, fastest lap goes to Jensen. So Max would be on 21 points. Jensen would be on quick maths, 15 points. Then Sam, with this win, would be on 14 points, so he would go 4th, overtaking Ren, because Ren's not here. And then I don't know how that would do for everyone else. What about constructors, actually? I think Audi would stay ahead in the championship. If Max takes what, 8 points today, then that puts them on 22 points. But then the Ferraris are scoring high, which is what, 10 and 4, I think. So I think they'd be on 14 points extra there. So no, I think Ferrari would go top actually by 2 points. Just doing rough maths there, but it's still very close.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and also I think in terms of the Drivers' Championship, it could definitely be interesting with, you know, Max having taken the victory in Daytona, and now Sam looking very strong. Of course, Jensen is going to be in the fight, maybe Logan as well. So, yeah, I think definitely between those four, maybe Rennie Van der Stappen as well, if he is able to make the next few races. Could definitely be an interesting fight for the championship. And of course, Jensen Rando is actually defending his title from last season.
Yeah, of course. Be interested to see if he's able to have any sort of late season form, because it's just the Mercedes doesn't look the best, not just around this track, but just in general. When you compare it to sort of the other like mid-engine cars, they seem to handle a lot better compared to the Mercedes, which is this, you know, big heavy front engine thing. Like,
yeah,
when you sort of like, how did you get into driving the Audi? Was it like you just joined the team, or did you sort of physically, you know, go out and maybe sort of like test a couple cars and, you know, decide that the Audi was yours, or like the one that you liked the most?
Yeah, it was kind of the latter, because the first round of the first season in Bathurst, I just tested a lot of different cars in a practice session, and in the end, I felt like the Audi was the nicest car kind of for me, because it was, you know, it's a pretty light car. It's pretty well, it feels pretty nice in the corners, and it lacks a bit of straight line speed compared to the Mercedes and BMWs and maybe even the Ferraris and Acuras. But yeah, for me, I think it suited my driving style. It felt a little bit loose as well, so it's easy to slide around a little bit, and it just felt natural. And I decided to pick that car, and I really liked the white and red livery as well. So yeah, I guess it's just a bit of a personal preference to which car you prefer, but I decided to pick the Audi and team up with Max, who I know in real life as well a little bit, so it's nice to have him as a teammate. Don't know him as well as my F1 teammate Jure, because we were actually really good friends. We live very close to each other. We used to go to the same school as well. Used to be classmates. So, but also Max is somebody I know quite well, and Jure as well, because we actually met each other at the Essen circuit when we visited DTM this year. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to be in a team with him. And actually, after I won the championship in the first season, I also bought a scale model of the exact Audi R8 with the white and red #1 livery on it. So, yeah, it's. I think I'm also going to be staying with Audi for the next couple of seasons, because I just really like that car.
And well, Rob actually saying in the chat there, it's the overall car to drive next to the Bentley, which I was surprised about the Bentley as well, because it looks quite a. it almost looks like it should be almost the same as the Mercedes in terms of, it's a really heavy car, big sort of thumping V8. But from when I've driven it though, it doesn't feel that bad. I think it's because I think I drove it around Bathurst, because I think it was just after the Bentley had actually won Bathurst. And I was like, I want to see what all the fuss is about. It actually wasn't too bad. I mean, Bathurst is just a difficult track in itself, but the car almost made it a little bit less difficult. It felt like you could turn it, go quite quickly through corners and not worry about it really hitting the wall. It kind of felt like it was quite planted. It was just quite a nice overall car to drive. And I've driven around a couple other tracks as well, and it does feel very nice. But I think if you were to give you the choice, I think I would actually say the Audi though as well, because I love the sound of it. But also as well, as you say, it drives really surprisingly nicely for compared to all of the other rear engine cars. It's the only car I'd maybe put up there with the Audi from experience is maybe the McLaren. The McLaren can be a little bit iffy on exits though compared to this.
Yeah, I also love the sound of the Audi indeed, and it was you can definitely tell that it lacks with the straight line speed, especially in season 1 when Jensen was in the BMW. He was so much quicker on the straights, but then in the corners I was able to make up time. So it also depends a bit on the circuit. Like in Zolder, or even a track like Imola here, I think the Audi has a bit of an advantage because it has many corners. But on circuits like maybe Indianapolis, maybe even Daytona, it might be a bit of a disadvantage because you're losing it so much on the straights. But maybe I think the benefit of having a bit of a heavier car is also that it drives a bit more stable. So I think if you have a bit of a smooth driving style, maybe you'll like it more because it doesn't really kick out as much and it feels a bit more planted than maybe a car like the Audi. So yeah, I think it just comes down to what you prefer.
When I look at the calendar for this season, because I was about to ask about tracks that the Audi's good at, and of course you mentioned Zolder. Are there any other tracks in the calendar? Because I've just checked, there's only 7 races in the calendar, but the next tracks, the rest of the season is Nurburgring, Spa, Oschersleben, Portimao, and Zolder. Out of all those tracks, are there any that you kind of immediately think, okay, those are ones which I know the car's going to do well at, and I'm going to do well at, or are there any as well where you're kind of going, that one's going to be, a bit of a disappointing race maybe?
Well, I think the first one that springs to mind is Zolder. Also because in season 1 I won the race there with 20 seconds advantage over Max, who's also in the Audi. So we were easily the quickest there. And also Oschersleben is a track we haven't raced yet, but it's a very tight and small circuit, so maybe that's going to suit the Audi as well. But I don't know, it's a bit of a weird track. And apart from that, well, I really like Spa, but it has a bit of everything. Of course, high-speed corners, slow-speed corners, and straights as well. It's a very fast track as well, but I think I am looking forward to the track, and I think I can do well there also because I just like the circuit and I think it suits me. But apart from that, yeah, Nurburgring last year was a bit of an effort race. I think I finished 5th or 6th, or something like that. And I don't know why, because for some reason I just didn't really seem to be on the pace there. So maybe that's a circuit that somehow doesn't really suit the Audi. But yeah, I think Zolder is my strongest track, and also the Audi strongest track out of the tracks that are coming up in the calendar.
By the way, what you say about the Audi, is that the M4 or is that the Z4?
What do you mean?
BMW. Sorry, BMW, yeah, not Audi, sorry.
Yeah, I think you can choose between the M6 and the Z4.
So which one were they driving? When you were sort of talking about
I
straight line
think Jensen
speed?
was driving in the M6 in season 1.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure if we actually have drivers on the entry list this year that are in the BMW.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's just Mercedes, Audi. What has he got? Yeah, so you got Acura, Mercedes, Ferrari, Audi, Lamborghini, and Porsche now.
Yeah. I was already thinking, is somebody in the BMW? But yeah, Jensen was in the M6 in season 1 and 2, I think. No, I think last year was already in the Mercedes, so just the first season.
And GT Rob saying about how the Bentley from Project Cars 1 was the best car to drive, but then the one in Project Cars 2, apparently they've dumbed it down for the power, so they basically got no power. But saying the Porsche is the best car to drive if you can set it up. I wasn't sure about that for GT3s. I thought that was more for like GTEs. I thought the Porsche was the best one. But then even again, I'd say the Ford's probably the best GTE. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
I really like the Ford GT as well. I actually used the Porsche GT3 in the 24-hour Nurburgring race, and I really like that car as well. So that could be a good option as well. I'm not sure how it stacks up compared to the Audi, because I've never compared it, but that's it definitely feels nice as well to drive.
I think it's also kind of like it feels like some of them are kind of tailor-made for different sort of drivers, almost, or like different sort of styles as well. Like, because there's a couple cars in them which I think are just, I don't know why they put them in the game. Like the Cadillac, never really got along with that. I don't really understand it. The Jenetta's a bit of a weird one as well, because it's all right, but it's not the best car. But even then, of course, you got the main sort of front runners. I don't mind the BMWs, but I never really got along with the M6. I preferred the Z4.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you also have the Renault, which nobody seems to use for some reason, because it's not actually a bad car, but it's a bit of a... I do like the look of it though, but it's a bit of a weird car as well. It has 7 gears, and it has... I think it uses up a lot of fuel as well, and I think that's one of the biggest downsides of it. And for some reason nobody seems to use it. Also, if you look at the AOR GT3 championships, I've never seen somebody use the Renault. So there must be something wrong with it, but I don't know, because it doesn't actually feel that bad, and it can achieve pretty good lap times as well.
I must say though, because in this game you got like 2 versions. I think you got the GT3 version, then you've got I think it's like the RS01 sort of standalone series version. I prefer that one. I think it's got a bit more power in it.
Yeah, I think I was talking about the RS01 as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was driving it this morning actually. I was just loving it because it felt so planted. It felt like you could carry a lot of speed through like corners, but it just felt like it lacked a bit of just overall speed. Like, it was okay once it got to the top end, but that was really, really at the top end. Like,
yeah, so a bit of torque out of the lower gears.
Yeah,
like the traction. Yeah.
And Rob's saying M6 is straight line speed. GTE is the way to go. Sorry, GT way to go is forward. Yeah. But then M6 is straight line speed. I never really experienced it straight line speed, so might try and test that or something after the race today.
So yeah, pretty spread out fields moment. Sam's still leading the way by 20 seconds over Max, and then it's a further 40 seconds to Jensen, who's really dropped off. And he's actually being chased by Logan Roll, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Well, there might be I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if there was a big off or something for Jensen, but yeah, look at this now. The 2 F1 rivals.
Yeah, fighting for the championship in F1, fighting for a podium in GT3. So will Jensen have an answer as we come into the start-finish straight? We have the advantage of slipstream. I'm not sure if Jensen maybe made a mistake and potentially damaged the car a little bit, but it seems to be fine now. Seems to be keeping up with Logan and Ron.
Oh, he's going to move out to try and maybe make a move, but he's going to slip back behind. Oh, saying they got really close, he's gone off.
That's unfortunate. Seemed like he maybe got sucked into the corner a bit as well with the slipstream.
Yeah.
Certainly makes it more difficult to get it slowed down. But Logan Ron now taking over P3, and we might have a bit of a fight for the podium in the final 10 minutes of this race.
And Rob saying, I'm a turner. Nick would tell you about my setups with the Porsche at Daytona.
Well, I can't really recall what kind of setups you used or what you were doing back then. But I know, that you certainly always were preparing a lot and using a lot of different setups and giving a lot of insights into how it affected the performance of the cars.
And also, just looking at the calendar as well, there's only 7 races. If like someone would ask you, come on, Nick, do you want to pick another track for the calendar? What track would you put in from this game? That you kind of would want to maybe just have in just because either you like it or you think it'd be an interesting one, something like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, well, certainly the race that we started the first season with, Bathurst, is a track that I really like. I think, it has a lot of character, a lot of evaluation, a lot of, how do you call it? Evaluation changes? No.
Yeah.
Like difference in heights.
Yeah.
Elevation, that's what I was looking for, yeah. So, I think that makes that track really stand out, it's a lot of fun to drive and very challenging as well, especially in the sectors where it drops downhill, like in the middle sector where you have that downhill section, and you really have to be careful with braking. And as Jensen actually runs right into the gravel there, oh, that's a shame for him. That's probably his chance to go on the podium. But yeah, I really like Bathurst, so I definitely like to see that track return to the calendar.
Yeah.
And apart from that, of course, we also have a lot of F1 tracks like Barcelona in the game. Also Mugello, but it's a DLC track.
Yeah,
so I don't think we'll see that used because everybody would have to have the DLC. But I really like that track as well. Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty good track list in this game. There are many good tracks, and I think it's difficult to really think of the tracks at the moment. Also, Brno is a pretty fast and flowing circuit, I think. But I don't know if it's really suited for GT3.
Yeah, I've tried it in a couple cars before. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't know how good it as well would be for battling.
Yeah, like it's a very wide track as well.
Yeah, you could definitely battle, but you'd lose a lot of time if someone, compared to someone who'd be sort of in clean air.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And GT Rob actually saying he chose Sonoma, which again is another good track actually. If you're able to hook up a good lap round there, then yeah, it can be really fun.
Yeah, we actually had Sonoma in the LMP2 series that we used to do, I think 1 or 2 years ago. But I actually missed that race, but that was the only time that we used it on the calendar in SRL. But I haven't really driven that track much, so I'm not sure if I choose that track, but maybe it could have some potential, yeah. And I don't know, maybe Monza or Hockenheim, like those are also F1 circuits, so I think maybe the point of GT3 is as well to kind of diverge it from F1 and use different tracks.
Yeah, like do tracks that we don't usually actually get to do much.
Yeah. And of course we have the Le Mans 2.4-hour race with LMP1s.
Yeah.
So I won't see that track used as well in GT3. And well, if I could also choose a track to have in the calendar for GT3, that would be the Nurburgring full layout with the merge line.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're ever going to do that, but I'd really like that actually.
I think it'll be a bit of like a Bathurst. It's kind of like if you like the track, you're going to do well, but there'd be probably like 3 or 4 drivers or something just circulating around the back.
Yeah, it's going to be very spread out there because it's so easy to make mistakes and damage the car.
Difference in lap time as well will probably be huge compared to something like this, where it's kind of maybe a second or 2 seconds, but there it would be, 6 or something seconds.
Yeah, maybe even more. Yeah. And yeah, I really like Silverstone as well. Also in the F1 game, but again, it's maybe a bit too standard. So, yeah, I guess maybe Bathurst and Nurburgring. Those are the 2 that I would add if I could make the calendar.
Maybe you could sort of be a bit cheeky and say, we're doing the Nurburgring, just add the Nordschleife into it as well, just do the combined track.
Yeah, without letting them know. We used to have Road America as well in the LMP2 series.
I was going to say about
I quite like those tracks as well. And I think we had Watkins Glen as well in LMP2. Because it was like base of IMSA, so we had a lot of American tracks.
Right then, so we've only got 5 minutes left of the race here, and only 5 more minutes for Sam to be in the lead before he takes the win. I don't have any stats at all about how many races that Sam's won, but I'm just going to go and say this is, of course, his first win of the season. So
yeah, it's definitely not his first overall, but I'm not sure how many he has won.
Yeah.
But I do remember that he won the first race in season 1 in Bathurst. So Yeah, it's not his maiden GT3 win, but yeah, certainly the first of the season, of course. And also, Max has closed the gap down a bit. It's now 12 seconds, so still quite a lot, but we've seen the gap bigger at some points.
Yeah, well, of course, all it takes really is just for Sam to make some sort of big mistake, and it could. Oh, as I say that, he goes off a little bit there, but.
Rob is saying Donington Park. Yeah, I actually quite like that circuit as well, especially the first sector with the high-speed corners. It can be really flowing, so that's a good shout as well.
I must admit though, I enjoy it more in open wheels because I think you get a bit more. It just feels a bit nicer. Like I've tried it like Indy cars and the FR 3.5s around here, and that that can be quite fun. But I have done GTEs around there. It just I don't know. It doesn't get me the same way. Like the first sector is really fun, but it's when you get to the later one, like the later parts of the track, it could be a little bit sketchy, like especially the hairpins as well. I don't know. I struggle to find the right way to go through them. I can open the steering quite nicely, but the rest of it's just a bit iffy. I've got to quickly go, but I'll be back for the end.
Oh yeah, sure. I can take over for a little bit. So Max is still definitely pushing on. The gap is just 9 seconds now between him and Sam. And he doesn't have to worry about losing second place because the gap behind him is very large to Logan Ron, so he can pretty much go all in to try and just do something, maybe put a slight bit of pressure on Sam to force him into a mistake, but still, 9 seconds is way too much for that, so this is Sam's race to lose now at this point. And Logan Ron also with a pretty sizable gap to Jens Reno in 4th place. And Dion Stahl still hanging on in 5th place in front of his Acura teammate, Sander Dullis, who's had a really tough day. Really tough start to the season for Acura, because also in the first round in Daytona, they were struggling a lot with the setup and with the behavior of the car. And I think they finished last and second to last as well, in the same order with Dion and Sandro. So, especially for Sandro, he's had a really tough race, 3 minutes behind the leader, so he is a lap down, and a desperate start to the season, unfortunately for him. But a very strong drive from Samuel Brandt, and I can't help to think that I was in the fight. I was fighting with Samuel at the start of the race, and Logan before he spun. And even after I hit Logan's car and was driving out with damage, I really feel like I would have had a shot of winning this race in the second stint in the rain after I repaired my car. But of course, that's very easy for me to say that, sitting up here now and chilling. It may sound a little bit weird, just commentating the race now, but yeah. I really think I had a chance in this race. Anyway, there's always a next time. There must always be a next time. And there will. But Sam, just one lap away now. He will cross the line for the penultimate time next time round. Yeah, I'm sorry if it may sound a bit arrogant for me to say it, but yeah, it's just such a shame to end the race the way I did, which is completely my own fault, of course, but man, there was definitely potential for me in this race. Anyway, I shouldn't have made stupid mistakes then, if I would have had his chance, and Sam, he hasn't put a foot wrong, really. I mean, he made a few tiny mistakes, but he hasn't cracked under pressure even when Logan was right behind him. Or when I was right behind him, and he has made the most of the conditions as well, switching to the wet tires at the right point. And he is definitely conserving a bit now, I think, because Max is closing the gap down. It's now down to 7 seconds. But just one more lap to go. Well, 1.5 laps to go now for Samuel, because the next time he crosses the line, it will be the final time. Yeah, he's gonna get the flag now, sorry. I was getting confused here. He will just about finish the race, because only 30 seconds left. That's longer than the time that it takes to complete the lap. Shorter then, should I say. So he will take the checker flag this time round. to clinch his first victory of the season and definitely put himself on the map in the fight for the championship. Max Muller, though, he is definitely pushing out just 5 seconds. He's closing up to a lap car as well. I think that's Sandro. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, the screen that you can actually see in the live stream doesn't show it, but I am actually spectating the cars as well. So that's why I may talk about things that you can't see. But Max is now closing up to Sandro. But it doesn't matter because Sam is already at the final corner. Still 5 seconds in front. And the timer has run out. It's going to be Samuel Brandt who's going to take his first victory of the season. As he crosses the line and clinches the checkered flag. And with that, takes the 4 points. In front of the Audi, Max Muller is going to take a really solid second place. And Logan Aron is probably going to hang on to a podium with a big gap to Jensen Randall behind him. But well done to Samuel Brandt. He definitely deserved that victory. Like I said, he barely put a foot wrong in this race. Very consistent. And that's how you ultimately win races. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Even in the 1.5 hour races, we have the 2.4 hour races as well, of course. But Sam definitely drove the strongest race and made the least amount of mistakes out of everyone to clinch the victory. Well done to Max as well in second place to back up his win in Daytona. He's definitely still also within contention, of course, for the championship this season with 5 more rounds to go. As Logan Aron now crosses the line to clinch his podium, which is going to be the third place in a row for him, actually, after he also finished in third in the first round in Daytona. After a very nice comeback there. And Jensen Randall salvaging a few points in 4th place. Dion Stahl is right behind him on track. But also a lap... wait, actually, Dion is actually very close to Jensen. It's just 1 second at the moment, even a little bit less than that. So it is still very close between 4th and 5th, but Dion just wasn't able to do enough to really make an attack on Jensen Randall. As Dion Stahl now crosses the line as well to secure his 5th place. And that only now leaves Sandro Dulis in 6th place. His first race. And Scott is back.
Yeah, I'm back. So that took a lot longer than expected. But yeah, there you go. There's confirmation of the results. I have got to go very quickly as I have a thing that's just come up. So yeah, I'll finish it off by just saying. So we've got Sam taking the win. Then it's Max Muller 2nd place. 3rd place is Logan. 4th place is Dion. 5th is Jensen. 6th is Sandro. And rounding out the back of the grid is our co-commentator, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hurts to see it, but I guess I did it all myself.
Right then, so I'm going to wrap up the stream now. Thank you very much for watching or listening, everybody. Thank you very much to Nick for joining in. I know it was the best of circumstances for you to join, but nevertheless...
I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, thanks for having me here because I liked talking to you and talking about the race, and it was fun to be in the commentary booth for the final half an hour.
Yep, same here. So, thank you very much, Nick. Thank you very much, Rob, as well, for being active in the chat. And as I said, thank you for everyone else who was watching or have watched. And yeah, we will see you. I'm not sure when the next race. I think it might be next week, actually, or no, sorry, 2 weeks. And it'll be F1, I believe. So, see you till then.